You're listening to the Radcast, a top 25 worldwide business podcast. If it's radical, we cover it. Here's your host, Ryan Alford.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the latest edition of the Radcast. I'm Ryan Alford, your host. We say if it's radical, we cover it. Well, it's radical happy today. I watch a lot of sports talk. Yeah, I'm a dude. We watch sports. I talk sports. And our guest today is a TV personality, a producer, and writer. Her name's Alex Curry, and she's one of the happiest, smiliest people I know, and I love it. And I'm glad you're here, Alex.
Thanks for having me, Ryan. Yeah, no, that's my kind of lifestyle is happy is my vibe. And what you see is what you get in real life and when I'm on TV talking sports. Because at the end of the day, I think people forget sports are a game. Sports are supposed to be fun. Sports are entertainment. So why not make it that when you're talking about it every day on TV?
Yeah, and you do it well. I was like, you're always subbing in, and then sometimes it's like you're always on the air. I'm finding you on more and more things. Like you've got your own programs now.
She's everywhere.
Like, but Cowherd's where I got introduced to you, and then I'm like, then I'd catch you on this show and that show, and you got your other things now. But we'll get to that. Let's talk Alex's professional journey and what the hell made you want to get in TV.
Oh man. Well, it was kind of the perfect combination of both things that my life was always about. I have been involved playing sports from the moment I could walk, and I played every sport that I could. I was soccer, softball. I grew up on the beach. So you have the volleyball, you have the swimming, tennis, just anything and everything that I could year round. I was always outside playing, and that continued throughout my high school and college career. I ended up playing soccer in college, but during that time, I was also doing theater. I did a lot of musical theater, and I loved performing, and I loved the production. And I always loved just being involved in all that. I did a lot of, growing up in LA, I did a lot of extra work while I was in middle school and high school, did a lot of the performances. And it was kind of this perfect little combination of, I was always very specific with what I wanted to do. I didn't say my current job until later on in life, but I remember talking to my dad, I think it was in elementary school. And I was like, yeah, Dad, I'm not going to be in an office. I'm going to be like out, like working in the field. He's like, okay, let's see how that goes. And I was always just very, very intentional and spoke things into existence. I want to do this. Okay, now how do I get there? And what do I do next? And that's kind of how I got into the production world of things. I ended up going to San Diego State, playing soccer there, and knew that if I wanted to get within this world of entertainment, whatever it was that I was going to be doing, because I didn't know yet, but I just knew that I wanted to be involved in it in somehow. And I ended up starting behind the scenes, working for a production company, the Joe Louis production company that basically set up every major award show, red carpet in LA. And I would spend all of my summer breaks, winter breaks, spring breaks, just hands-on, doing PA work, crafty, walking celebs down the red carpet, anything and anything I could get my hands on. I basically said yes. And I did that for 2-3 years. And while I was doing that, ended up getting picked up while I was working as a stage manager to be the Mountain Dew hostess on the Championship Gaming Series on DirecTV. And next day just showed up to work, started doing on-camera stuff. And that was when I kind of had this, oh, this is fun. I can do this. I'm so curious by nature. Like it feels like I'm in a performance, which is like what I did with theater on stage all the time anyway. And that was kind of my reintroduction back into okay, I think this is what I want to do. And then that next semester I was in a class where we had to do, because I was a journalism media studies major with a business marketing minor. And one of the classes we had to write a paper about what we wanted to do and what were all the exact steps you had to do to get there. And it was the first time I said out loud, I want to be a host. I think I want to be a TV host. And I wrote a paper. I figured out what you had to do, which I had to get an internship. So then I applied for a bunch of internships, ended up getting one at E! News and Fuel TV, which was like the action sports network. Ended up deciding to take the Fuel TV one because sports is more of who I am. And I figured smaller company, I could probably learn more hands-on and have more opportunities to grow and rise in a smaller setting. So that was kind of my first kind of foot in the door, figuring out what I wanted to do. And I spent that summer interning at Fuel TV while I was still in college. So I did 5 years behind the scenes before I actually got my real first opportunity on camera.
That's how it is. I mean, everybody loves to think that no matter what it is, you just landed into it. Just got thrown in your lap, right?
Oh my God,
that's
no.
like with anything.
No way.
No. I was actually like me, like I was getting getting coffee or like doing whatever,
Yeah, I did. I got coffees. I was going like running in to go get gaff tape like miles away to bring it back. Like I interned at Fuel TV. I was the field PA on Last Call with Carson Daly. I was the talent manager for ESPN X Games. I literally took any opportunity that I could, because in my mind, it's like, you never know who you're going to meet. This is such a small industry. And it actually, because I did that, I ended up becoming extremely close with everybody that was working on the X Games. And that's how I met Salema Masakela. And I ended up being his co-host once he went to Red Bull and we did the Red Bull Signature Series. And so that was kind of like my in there. It's just, I always tell people, say hi, be kind to everybody. You never know what can come from a situation. Follow up, network, and just say yes. Just go for it.
Yes. That's going to be a highlight clip right there. That is the key to a lot of things in life. Everybody wants to make it Everybody wants to make it complicated. But I think that's like self-sabotaging in a way, because you want it to be complex when just say yes and just show up. And I don't know if you've heard of Grant Cardone. He's like one of the most successful real estate and business guys right now. And his thing is he has 3 keys to success. And one of them, just show up, baby. I mean, right.
It's not that hard. Like I kind of like it confuses me sometimes because I'm like, it's simple. All you have to do, show up, work hard, and just be the best of what you're trying to do, and do one thing every single day to better your craft. Because even if you are at the top of your craft, you can still get better every single day. And the best people are always trying to find ways to get better every single day. And if you don't know how to do it, figure it out. Just figure it out. Like the way I got my first, like my foot in the door with Fox Sports is a funny story. I was bartending. So after I graduated college, I was doing all the behind the scenes jobs. I was living at my parents' for the first year. I was bartending down the street at Sharky's, and it was a Wednesday afternoon. And I was just there were 2 guys at the bar, talking to one guy how I wanted a Canon 7D for my birthday. This guy behind me goes, "Oh, I highly recommend the Canon 7D." I turn around and go, what do you do? He's like, "I'm a producer at Fox Sports." I was like, "Great, I want to work at Fox Sports." He's like, "Yeah, it's a little forward." It's like, well, he's like, "I usually have people audition." I was like, "Even better, I got a show idea for you." And I just pitched him a show idea. He goes, "Do you have a script?" I go, "I can get you a script." He gives me his card. He goes, "Call me when you have a script." He leaves. I call my friend who's a manager. I was like, "Peter, send me every script that you have. I have no idea how to write a script, but I'm going to figure it out." He sends me all these scripts. I am all like, fake it till you make it, learn on the fly. Like, yes, you can. Everyone's figuring it out as they go. So I ended up getting a script together, sending it to who became a longtime producer, Max. He absolutely loved it, said he was going to shoot the pilot for free. We ended up shooting the pilot. 2 days later, he invited me to go to China to cover the World University Games for Fox College Sports. And right when I got back was when I had an audition for the Angels, and like everything kind of just started to go from there. But it's like, you never know I say this all the time, luck is when preparation meets opportunity. I was so ready. I was in a hosting academy. I had been going through daily classes because I didn't go to like a broadcast school. I was just kind of figuring it out. So I had to do that after college. I played soccer. I was an athlete. I love sports, but I didn't know how to talk on camera. There's all these things. I talk a lot with my hands. So it was like, find a home for your hands, how to conduct an interview, all these things. So I'd been going through all of this training, all of these auditions, nothing was happening there. And then it just so happened to be a moment when I was bartending, but just so ready and hungry for the opportunity.
I love that. And you said something earlier. I was like, Alex isn't this old. You said Carson Daly in Last Call. And I'm like, Alex is not old enough to have been on that show or been working on that. Right?
I was a field PA. Oh, yes, I was.
I remember that show.
I think that was like 2011,
Yeah.
2011, 2012.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was right when it was. I love Carson though. You keep up with him?
No.
Okay.
No, it didn't end well for me there.
Oh, really?
It was actually it was a good mutual split, because that was the reason I decided to go all in on following my dreams to become a host and not doing the behind the scenes work anymore.
Ah, there you go.
Yeah.
Then you get into, I guess the sports thing, like you obviously played, so it obviously was a natural transition. Is it just, is it passion as simple as that?
I mean, I had a sports obsessed dad too. We had season tickets to Dodger Stadium. I spent every free, not like when I was playing, not at a tournament, because I played club soccer, which was year round, and softball, which is like a lot. So any free moment that we had, our family time, was either spent at the beach or at Dodger Stadium. So I grew up just in and around sports and loving sports. And I love playing and I love competing. I am such an athlete, like in my core of who I am. And I love what sports does. Like the big picture of sports, how it brings people together, how you can experience every single emotion in one game, how it makes you realize what teamwork can do. Like there's so many things within sports that are just great outlooks on life. And it was just so much of who I was and who I am, that it just felt right. Like I was always watching games anyway. Now I'm paid to talk about it and watch games, which is still, I kind of pinch myself sometimes. I'm like, really? You sure? Cool.
So like, are you officially like, talk to us now, like, with what you do now, like I catch you on Colin or did, and you still sub there, but walk us through like, what's the day job versus you'll sign up and say yes, and I'm like subbing / co-hosting, like walk us through like that now.
I mean, the last 2 years have been pretty crazy. So I was sideline for the Angels for 10 years, also did King sideline during their Stanley Cup years, did the Signature Series for Red Bull, did Big Ten Network, Tailgate 48, did so many outside things. And then I became full-time with Fox Sports 1 in 2021 to host Fox Bet Live, which was their live sports betting show.
Yep.
And while I was there, I was also not only like the host of that, but I am also their main fill-in for all of their studio shows. So I would do Undisputed on Thursdays and Fridays. Eventually, when they had Joy fill in for Colin for the first time, I was her co-host, which was a huge deal because it was their first, I think, all-female show that they had ever had on the network.
Y'all did it great. It was great.
Yeah, with like two sports-obsessed women. Yeah. And she's also a dear friend of mine, so that was just so fun and so rad.
What sucks about two pretty ladies that know more about sports than 9 out of 10 guys? I mean, like, it sounds like a show in waiting.
Right?
Yeah.
It's pretty hilarious when you have a guy come up to you and they're like, oh, like, you know sports? And then they ask you a simple question. You're like, oh, no, you don't know sports. Come at me. Yeah. Let's go. Yeah. I'm excited for this one.
Yep. I cut you off, but okay, so you did that.
So now I don't know if you've seen, but Fox got rid of their sports book. So once that went, then the Fox Bet Live show went as well. So now I co-host a daily baseball show with Ben Verlander called Flippin' Bats. I have my own Fox Sports radio show on Saturday afternoons from 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific, the only female-led radio show on the entire network. And then, I am still their number one fill-in for whenever and whatever they need across all of the in-studio shows. And I've also done everything from college football. I do college football sideline. 2019, I was a U.S. embedded reporter for the Women's World Cup with Fox. So anything and everything, I've always just been like, let's go, let's do it. But my new transition of what I've really wanted to do, and which is why I made kind of that move from out in the field is like sideline live at the games, to in studio, is I want I want to have deeper conversations. I want to start giving my opinion. That was kind of the next step in my career. And this is that next step of how I build that muscle and kind of take that part of my career to the next level.
Yeah. And so understanding like the business side of it. So,
yeah,
the betting goes away, and we're not to get into like the personal aspect of your contract, but like trying to understand, like, you're on the roster, obviously you're under contract with Fox Sports. You know, you have a multitude of skill sets, but so you're very well rounded, so they can plug you in where needed. But how does all that work as far as like the contract goes of what you can and can't do, maybe in and outside of Fox?
Well, every contract's different, but I mean, when you're under contract full time with a network, they are your primary. So if you get asked to do anything else, you just kind of have to go to them and use your better judgment of like, hey, can I go do this?
When to ask
a lot
for
of the time, most of the
when
time,
to actually play that card or ask for permission.
Yeah, most of the time it's yes, and it's fine. But they get first choice, first priority when you're under contract with a network in the way that I am.
Yeah. So does but you're under contract. So when one show goes away and then they just start leverage you in different places, your contract doesn't go away, but is it just that flexible because it's not tied to a show?
I mean, that's when you kind of get more flexibility to go do other things, and you're going to get more yeses. But it's also fun because that's a time where you can go and explore and figure out what I want to do next. And that's where I really realized what my next move wanted to be. And that was to be in the opinion space, because I never had that before. I was either on the sidelines giving a 30 to 90 second report of what I saw, doing an interview, asking questions, or hosting a show where you're reading a teleprompter the whole time. So it wasn't really, and again, like I have been so grateful for every step of the way, and I've loved every step of it. I can do now every step of it, but my goal in life is to always evolve and to always grow and to find what can I do better, as I mentioned before. And for me, it was, what's that next step for me? And it's finding my voice and finding my opinion within this industry that I love and that I've been in for a decade.
I want to talk more about that, but before I leave, feels like the present and future. I want to just continue to talk a little bit back because you've done so many things. What's like, okay, the most badass, this is the Radcast, so we talk about radical shit. So like, what's the most like badass, okay, I pinch myself like moment for Alex Curry? Do you have one?
I've had
or
a lot
few?
of those. I've had a lot of those. I've been a part of some pretty incredible moments within sports. And I'm going to say it all started with my very first sideline. I was a part of the Angels broadcast starting in 2012, but I was just doing like their magazine show, which is kind of the feature show. I do some pregame hits. And then in 2013, they go, hey, we're going to have you fill in for one game. So I fill in for one game in May. Just so happens that one game is when Mike Trout hits for the cycle. First career cycle.
Wow.
And it was my very first experience at sideline.
That's
Nail
badass.
it. And then I get the full-time sideline gig the next year, which was so cool. Fast forward, I got to be there 2014, obviously, when Angels won the AL West, just being part of that whole experience. And then that was also 2014 when the Kings won the Stanley Cup, and I was their team reporter and down on the ice drinking whiskey out of the Stanley Cup at 4 a.m. the night that they hoisted the Stanley Cup was absolutely insane. And then once we got Albert Pujols on the Angels and just being the first person to talk to him after he hit career home run 600, being there down on the field with that moment. Then we get Shohei Otani and him hitting his first career home run in Angel Stadium, the first person he talks to. And we get these crazy Gatorade showers happening as I'm running away from that. Then 2019, when the women win back-to-back Women's World Cups in France. And I've been with them the entire year, the team reporter. I'm the first person talking to them and talking them through everything. There's just been, I've been lucky to be a part of some pretty incredible sports moments that not many people get in a lifetime.
Man, That's a lot. And you had me at Trout cycle, first cycle. And then, but on Tony, people don't realize how, like, that guy pitching and hitting home runs, that guy is as radical as they come. No, I don't know if
Otani?
Yeah, Otani. Like,
oh, yeah.
I don't know if anybody has a complete appreciation on how ridiculous he is.
No, and I don't think people are appreciating the greatness when it's right in front of our face. And we did this, like, you've seen this, like, with LeBron. Like, people, when he was in his stretch of incredibleness, like, how did he not win more MVPs? I don't know. I think people get tired of the fact that you're just seeing someone do something so great over and over again that you stop appreciating exactly what this athlete and this human is doing. And we're seeing that with Shohei Otani. We've never seen anyone in the game do what he's doing right now. He's an ace. He's an ace on a pitching staff. And he was leading the league in home runs up until he got injured a couple weeks ago. And at one point during the season, he was number one on every offensive and pitching stat for the Angels. Like, it is insane. He becomes a free agent this offseason. And I think he's probably going to get a $500 million contract wherever he ends up. But it's going to be crazy.
Hope he goes to the Braves. I don't know if they're even in the market for him.
I don't know. That's not their style, though. The Braves,
it's not.
Get them young, lock them into a contract young, and then it either pans out and they have a great.
They're pretty badass this year. So
it's who's going to be able to afford it. My gut is saying the Dodgers.
Yeah, probably. It's going to be a big market team. Yeah, for sure.
Big market team.
It'll be interesting. What's your favorite sport? Like, is it baseball? I mean, you're doing flipping bats now. I mean, I'm hearing a lot of baseball, but what's the favorite sport?
Yeah, it's different. So it's like, what's my favorite sport to watch on TV?
Yeah.
What's my favorite sport to watch in real life? What's my favorite sport to cover? Yeah. It's crazy. We talk about this a lot. I say the best live sport to watch is hockey. Because I think you really have to be there for it, hockey and basketball. I love watching football, but I love being able to see what's happening and hearing what's happening. So I love watching that on TV. Mm-hmm. And then there's just something, I guess, because I grew up in a ballpark at Dodger Stadium. So baseball is just, it feels like picnic in the park. That's just like family time, hang out. And I spent a decade of my career watching games every day during the summer and covering games.
I know.
So, I mean, I love it all. And soccer. Soccer was hard. Once I stopped playing, it took me a moment to get like that anxiety of like missing not playing. It was hard to watch because I wasn't playing. Covering it was one of the more special things I've been able to cover. And then obviously having it be at the World Cup and watching the U.S. women win the World Cup was pretty incredible.
Yeah. And, it was. And then I imagine I couldn't help but I was thinking today because it's like Alex Curry's coming on, and obviously our show's pretty evergreen. But it's such a. I mean, how many times did you talk about Aaron Rodgers today? Did that come up in anything?
Constantly. I mean, that was the most roller coaster of an evening watching him run out there with the American flag on 9/11 in New York, between what it looked like two kind of twin towers onto the field to the middle, putting the flag right on the Jets logo. Like, it felt like hearing, again, all of his off-season conversations of just how happy he was. He felt like he was in a dream. He felt reborn. He was rejuvenated. It felt like he had the best, like, off-season, preseason, running onto the field in that moment, and then 4 plays into the game, tears his Achilles. And it was just like, wait, what? Like that emoji where the mind is like exploding.
Yeah.
Like, is this not so on brand for the Jets right now? My heart just hurts so bad for all of the Jets fans and for Aaron Rodgers. He's 39 years old. So now the question is, does he retire, or is he going to rehab and come back and play at 40, 41? Like, this is not an easy injury to come back from, let alone the mental side of it, of getting yourself back to that place of being the best of who you can be and back to that MVP form.
I know. The Jets just cursed. I mean, good God. Like,
I don't know. It could be.
I don't.
It could be.
It's not even.
But
funny,
then the end of
it's
the
like,
game, you have an undrafted rookie.
He did.
Walking off with a crazy punt return who like made the team a week ago.
Yeah.
Like it was the most roller coaster of a game. But again, that's what makes sports so beautiful because it can be so heart-wrenching. Mm-hmm. And then it come back and just be so beautiful all in one game. That's what you got right there.
I know. It's going to be interesting. I hope, something tells me Aaron's so competitive that he won't go out that way. I don't know. It'd probably just be what his body, I think if his body will allow him, he'll probably come back. And then, but like you said, at 40, Achilles
it's crazy. I was just talking with Mark Sanchez earlier today. Obviously, he was the last quarterback to get the Jets to the postseason. Yep. But he was talking about the time when he ruined his shoulder and he was out for the rest of the season. He goes, the way he explained it was so, it like really put you in that mindset of where he's at right now. He goes, think of it like Bruce Wayne when he goes into his dark lair, right? You're Batman. You got to go down there. You are by yourself. You are in a deep, dark mental place that only you can be there with, and you have to get yourself through because the game's still going on. Jets have more games. They have another quarterback. They're going on. You are all by yourself and you have to get yourself there. Your Sunday's a different story now. You're going to have your surgery. Then you're going to be on a scooter. Then you're going to be in a boot. Then you're going to have to start rehab again. It's like your life is completely different to get back to where you were yesterday morning. Yeah. So it's just, it's a journey that only Aaron can go through and understand, and whatever he wants to do, hey, maybe 6 months into it, he's not healing the way he wants to. If he says, you know what, I gave it a shot, I don't think anyone's going to blame him. No. He's accomplished so many things. He's gotten a Super Bowl. He's 4-time MVP. He was the greatest in the game for a point in time. And it's just, this is tough. This is a really hard injury to come back from.
Who do you like this year in football? Any surprises? Anybody coming out of the woodworks that we might not expected in the NFL?
Miami looked really good.
God, they look great.
Tyreek Hill and Tua looked really good. I love Josh McDaniels.
I think. Wait just a second. I think they just threw another touchdown. It's 500 yards, 478 yards. You don't see those stat lines in the NFL that often, right?
No, they were absolutely insane. I think another huge surprise, not really because you had Mahomes, you're missing Chris Jones. Yeah. Burrow, you're coming off of injury, not being at training camp.
I picked this upset. I'm so glad you're going
Josh
here.
Allen.
I love you so much for going where I think you're going.
You have 3 top quarterbacks that went 0-1 week 1. So I think that shocked a lot of people. I don't think it's telling for how the season's going to be. Yeah. But it makes it a fun conversation. We talk about it on my radio show. It's great. I
picked Detroit to beat Kansas City. I told everybody that wanted to listen.
Did you really?
Yes. I was like, because I think Detroit's up and coming. Well, I just think they're up and coming, and I do like what they're. I'm not saying they're a Super Bowl contender. I think fringe playoffs, but I just thought they had it. I think their coach has them playing right, and I don't know. It just felt like the NFL.
I'd listen to him.
Yeah.
Have you heard his post-game pressers? Have you listened to any of the speeches he gives? That's a guy that you want to listen to, and you're this is how it's similar to a Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, what you're seeing him do right now in Colorado. If you have a certain leader that can get every single player on the team to buy in a certain way, that's how you create championship teams. Yeah. I've been around a lot of championship teams across every sport. And the one common thing is everyone buys in and everyone's on the same page, and it all starts with their leader. Yep. And you're seeing that with both those teams. Yeah.
My alma mater, has struggled out of the gates, but it's been that way. And that's with Clemson, with Dabo Swinney. He's that guy.
You had your moment.
I know.
You had your moment. You had some great moments. Come back.
We got a lot of talent. They're just young.
You had some moments.
You just can't lose to Duke the first game of the year. That hurt. That was a gut punch of reality. But we'll see how it goes. Talk to me. Is it you don't wear this on your sleeve, but I know it's part of it. But being a woman in sports, I mean, it's not easy, right? I mean, it's gotten better. I say this from assumption and not to put words in your mouth, but like, surely it's gotten better, but it's not great all the time, right?
No, I mean, you have to have thick skin. And I tell any like young woman wanting to get into this, make sure it's what you love and everything you want to do, because you're gonna go through a lot of tough times to get to where you want to be. Now, from when I started to where we are now, there are so many more opportunities for women that weren't necessarily available when I had just gotten out of college, which is why I find it so important to evolve as a woman within sports, and which is why I wanted to continue to evolve my career and have a voice and have an opinion and have a space where I can talk about sports just as much as every other person out there who loves all of the games and everything that goes with it. But as a woman, I mean, you have to work twice as hard with half the opportunity, and you better be over prepared. You better just be so on point. That's just the name of the game. It's what you have to. It's not the same for men and women in this industry. You say one thing, maybe mispronounce something wrong, it's like, she knows nothing, get her out of here. It's like, are you kidding me? I know what I'm talking about. Like, it's just it's a lot. But I personally choose I don't look into it. I know a lot of people do, and with social media it's tough because it's right there all the time in your face. This is why I choose just to have such a positive outlook on life. I choose to be happy every single day. I choose to love what I do. I choose to be the best at what I know I can be, and that's the best that I can give. And so I'm going to live in a happy space because that's what life is all about.
Yeah. I mean, where does that come from? Like, is it nature, nurture? Is it like you always been that way?
I had a very positive mom.
Yeah.
A very positive mom, but I also have been through some pretty tough things in life, and I've been in some dark places, and I did a lot of therapy to get me back to being the human that I wanted to be today. And that's why I choose every single day, because I know what it's like to be in those not so great places. So I make it a choice every day to choose happy and to wake up positive and to do the things every day in my life that keep me in this happy, positive space.
Yeah, it shows, because it really does. I mean, that's why I wanted you on the show, is like, it feels like you, like that's the real you, and
it is.
But I will say, I'm glad to hear that you're getting more into the opinion side of it. I think part of it's kind of like we want more of what we're used to a lot of times. And I think the reason, like, for women breaking through, we need more women having opinion on sports so that we hear it and we get conditioned to it and we can respect it. And I think that bodes well for you and bodes well for continuing to drive more and more opportunity.
It is. And I don't take this opportunity lightly. And I have to give so much credit to my dear friend, Joy Taylor, who is also on Fox Sports, the co-host of Speak. And the first time I filled in with her on The Herd, I always want to get better. So I always tell who I'm working with, I'm like, I love constructive criticism. How can I be better? What can I do better? And I did that with Joy. And she's like, I want you to have a stronger opinion. I was like, no one's ever told me that before. You were the first person in my decade of being in this industry to tell me that. And I took it to heart, and I was like, oh yeah, duh. Why don't I just do this? And it's like, it's so crazy that it just takes one person to flip your mindset to be like, oh yeah, no, I can do this. Why wouldn't I be able to do this? And it's awesome to have women in your corner too. There's so many of us within the industry, women within the industry. We have we're all really close too. We all talk, we all hang out. Some of my best friends are women in the industry: Joy Taylor, Cynthia Freeland at NFL Network, Colleen Wolfe, MJ Acosta. Everyone. It's just we are. Jane Slater, who works with the Cowboys. We are all just so close and champion each other and lift each other up, which I also think is really important, just to have people in your corner, no matter what industry you're in. It's just whether it's a mentor or have someone that you can bounce ideas off of. It's so important to kind of have that soundboard.
What are you doing when you aren't working? Like what makes you happy outside of sports and work?
My husband's a musician.
Okay.
And so music and live music is a huge part of like my happy. So, I mean, he's gone a lot because he's on tour. Yep. So I go and I can see him when he's there. But then I'm also like super active. I love working out. I love circuit training, bike riding. I have 2 dogs. I take my dogs on like crazy adventures. I have a big family. All my sisters, I have 3 little sisters. They all still live around here. So it's a lot of family time. Just being outside and then doing cool things. I love adventures and doing cool new things and food, really good restaurants. My mom and sister are private chefs. So we're big foodies in the family.
Oh, geez, man, I'd have to like really work out a lot. Like if
I do every day.
Yeah.
Every damn day. So I can eat that delicious food.
What's your favorite meal?
Worth it though.
What's your favorite, what type of food are we talking?
Oh, I love it all. I mean, what did I make last night? I made taco salad. So I make my own ground taco meat.
There you go.
Spicy seasoning. Tacos, salad, everything. I mean, everything. Fish, meatballs, love sushi. I'm the kind of person that like I am also gluten-free. I have been for like 16 years. So that's like an issue. Yeah. But if I'm able to eat it, I will give anything a try. Like I love food. I'm adventurous.
Yes. Adventurous, happy, and a badass on TV. Alex, I really appreciate you coming on the show. Tell me, everybody that's listening, how they can keep up with everything you're doing. All they can do is flip on the damn TV and watch Fox Sports. You're probably on one way or another, but besides that, how they keep up with you?
I mean, I post everything I'm doing on my social media accounts on Instagram, Twitter, X, @Alex_Curry. Everything will always be there. Links, tags. Listen to me every Saturday on Fox Sports Radio from 1 to 3 p.m. Pacific. You can hear me there.
Perfect. Hey guys, we really appreciate you coming on. Alex, I've been a fan from afar for a while and really respect the happiness, the joy, and soon to be lots more opinion. I'm happy to hear it.
There we go.
Really appreciate it, Alex.
Of course. Thanks, Ryan.
Hey, guys, you know where to find us, theradcast.com. Search for Alex Curry. That's Curry. You'll find all the highlight clips and everything about Alex, all her highlight clips, links, and where to find her on Fox Sports. You know where I'm at, Ryan Alford, on all the platforms with that blue check, verified before you could buy it. We'll see you next time on the Radcast.
To listen or watch full episodes, visit us on the web at theradcast.com. Or follow us on social media at our Instagram account, the.rad.cast, or @Ryan Alford. Stay radical.